move things around a little bit here. And try something a little bit different. Excuse me just a minute. Ah. Oh, I'm a little bit crooked, I think. There, that's a little better. The golden sayings of Epictetus. I'm at 26. That's where I'm gonna start from. True instruction in this, to learn to wish that each thing should come to pass as it does. And how does it come to pass? As a disposer has disposed it. Now he has disposed that there should be summer and winter, and plenty of dearth and vice and virtue, and all such opposites for the harmony of the whole. 27. Have this thought ever present with thee, when thou losest any outward thing, what thou gainest in its stead, and if this be the more precious, may not I have suffered loss. 28. Concerning the gods, there are who deny the very existence of the Godhead. Others say that it exists, but neither bestirs nor concerns itself, nor has forethought for anything. A third party attribute to it existence and forethought, but only for great and heavenly matters, not for anything that is on earth. A fourth party admit things on earth as well as in heaven, but only in general, and not with respect to each individual. A fifth, of whom were Ulysses and Socrates, are those that cry, I move not without thy knowledge. "29. Considering all these things, the good and true man submits his judgment to him that administers the universe, even as good citizens to the law of the state, and that is being instructed should come thus minded. How may I in all things follow the gods, and how may I rest satisfied with the divine administration, and how may I become free? For he is free for whom all things come to pass according to his will, and whom none can hinder. What then is freedom? Madness? God forbid, for madness and freedom exist not together. But I wish all that I desire to come to pass, and in the manner that I desire. You are mad, you are beside yourself. Know you not that freedom is a glorious thing and great worth? But what I desired at random, I should with that random to come to pass, so far from being noble, may well be exceeding base. 30. You must know that it is no easy thing for a principle to become a man's own, unless each day he maintains it and hear it maintained, as well as work it out in life. 31. You are impatient and hard to please. If alone, you call it solitude. If in the company of men, you dub them conspirators and thieves, and find fault with your very parents, children, brothers, and neighbors. Whereas when by yourself you should have called it tranquility and freedom, and herein deem yourself like man the gods. And when in the company of the many, you should not have called it wearisome crowd and tumult, but an assembly and in a tribunal, and thus accepted all with contentment. 32. What then is the chastisement of those who accept it not? To be as they are, in any discontented with being alone, let him be in solitude. Is any discontented with his parents? Let him be a bad son, and lament. Is any discontented with his children? Let him be a bad father. Throw him into prison. What prison? Where he is already, for he is there against his will. And wherever a man is against his will, that to him is a prison. Thus Socrates was not in prison, since he was there with his own consent. 33. Knowest thou what a speck thou art in comparison with the universe? What is with respect to the body, since with respect to reason thou art not inferior to the gods, nor less than they, for the greatness of reason is not measured by length or height, but by resolves and of the mind. Place then thy happiness in that wherein thou art equal to the gods. 34. Asked how a man might eat acceptably to the gods, Epictetus replied, if when he eats he can be just, cheerful, equable, temperate, and orderly, can he not thus eat acceptably to the gods? But when you call for warm water and your slave does not answer, or when he answers and brings it lukewarm, or is not even found to be in the house at all, then not to be vexed nor burst with anger, is not that acceptable to the gods? But how can one endure such people? Slave, will you not endure your own brother that has God to his forefather? Even as a son sprung from the same stock and of the same high descent as yourself, and if you are stationed in a high position, are you therefore forthwith to set up a tyrant? Remember who you are and whom you rule, that they are by nature your kinsmen, your brothers, the offspring of God. But I paid a price for them, not they for me. Do you see whether you are looking down to the earth, to the pit, to those despicable laws of the dead, but to the laws of the gods you do not look? 35. When we are invited to a banquet, we take what is set before us, and were one to call upon us host to set fish upon the table or sweet things, he will be deemed absurd. Yet in a word, we ask the gods for what they do not give, and that although they have great They have given us so many things. 36. Asks how a man might convince himself that every single act of his was under the eye of God. Epictetus answered, do you not hold that all things are bound together in one? I do. Well, and do you not hold that things on earth and things in heaven are continuous and in unison with each other? I do, was the reply. How else should the trees so regularly as though by God's command at his bidding flower, at his bidding and send forth shoots, bear fruit and ripen it, as his bidding let it fall and shed their leaves and folded up upon themselves lie in quietness and rest? How else, as the moon waxes and wanes, as the sun approaches and recedes, can it be that such vicissitude and alternation is seen in earthly things? If then all the things that grow, nay, our own bodies, are thus bound up with the whole, is not this still truer of our souls? And if our souls are bound up and in contact with God as being very parts and fragments plucked from himself, shall he not feel every movement of theirs as though it were his own and belonging to his own nature? 37. But, you say, I cannot comprehend all of this at once. Why, who told you that your powers were equal to God's? Yet God hath placed by the side of each man's own guardian spirit, who is charged to watch over him, a guardian who sleeps not nor is deceived. For to what better, a more watchful guardian would he have committed each of us? So when you have that the doors and made a darkness within, remember never to say that you are alone, for you are not alone, but God is within, and your guardian spirit. And what light do they need to behold? What you do? To this God you also should have sworn allegiance, even as soldiers unto Caesar. They, when their service is hired, swear to hold it the life of Caesar dearer than all else. And will you not swear your oath that are deemed worthy of so many and great gifts? And will you not keep your oath when you have sworn it? And what oath will you swear? Never to disobey, never to arraign or murmur or aught that comes to you from his hand, never unwillingly to do or suffer aught that necessity lays upon you. Is this oath like theirs? They swear to hold no other dearer than Caesar, you to hold our true selves dearer than all else beside. 38. How shall my brother cease to be wroth with me? Bring him to me, and I will tell him, but to thee I have nothing to say but his anger. 39. When one took counsel of Epictetus, saying, what I seek is this, how even though my brother be not reconciled to me, I may still remain as nature would have me to be. He replied, all great things are slow to growth. Nay, this is true even of a grape